second it.
Excellent. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? We're good. All
Jessica,
right.
thank you for doing all that
Yeah.
research. That's a piece of work.
I love talking to the vendors. It is fun for me. I did get to reconnect with our old
From
Burke
Burke.
rep, yeah. So it was nice to talk to him again.
All right, new business, funding sources, uses, and park dedication projections.
Yes, and I'm gonna start with this slideshow. I would envision that we transition into the PDF, just so that we can zoom in, look at the lines a little easier. Upcoming park projects, excuse me, City Park Remaster, the open space park located near the Bellwether development. I'm trying to find the right way to say it, there's just no good.
I know.
Neighborhood park near the Bellwether development, neighborhood park near Tavera, and the open space park near Ravinia and Old Sturbridge. Current park dedication funds are sitting at $4,196,751.77, with an approximate $500,000 anticipated from Tavera's 6th edition coming in to council next week. Projected park dedication funds, and I do want to say Tavera 6 was not included in the projected because it wasn't estimated at the time. But projected, we're looking at approximately $4,095,901.54. Now, that is to come in over a long period, like a few years.
That's for plans already approved? No.
No.
That is for full development of,
So,
Corcoran.
on,
Long term.
yeah. So you'll see that some of them are preliminary plats once we get into the park dedication tracker. So it's the second big sheet in your packet, and I'll pull it up here in a second, but it shows you where the review status is and where the plat status is to give kind of a better idea on where the process is at for that project. And keeping in mind that the ones in yellow that are estimates to come down the road are just that. They are estimates, so that could shift. It is dependent upon the fee schedule at the time, among other things, shifts in plans, especially if they're preliminary.
But there's no assumption here that undeveloped land will become developed land, it seems like. I mean, everything has a name, everything has a, I don't know what you call that, preliminary.
These are items that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that have been seen-ish. Like
It's
they
not an
exist.
empty farm that no one has put an offer on.
Correct,
Right?
correct.
Okay. Is there any way to get estimated potential timing on these? And maybe it's in here somewhere, I'm not seeing it yet, but it's tricky.
Some of them are harder.
Chair, I think a good way to look at the projected funds is when it comes time to do other things for that other development, this is what's going to fund those future things. And if and when it comes in.
Oh.
You know, so an example would be, if you were to look at the comp plan 20 years ago, we should be way further in our development than we are.
Right.
And so there's a lot of variables in the equation in terms of what happens, market, property owners, developers' decisions. And so I wouldn't pay too close of attention because there's also some legislation that could dramatically impact development fees and what we can get for park dedication. And so I'd look at what we have and what we can do with that and then see that as a placeholder on what's potentially there. But it could change pretty dramatically here in the next month and a half.
With that, yeah. Hopefully not.
Yeah, we hope it won't, but it could.
I'm working to pull up the spreadsheets.
So if you aren't aware of what I was speaking of there, there's some legislation that's been drafted in the Senate and in the House that would dramatically impact Corcoran, the whole state, and what happens for development. And I think that's all I'll say about it right now.
Would this be a good time to address potential bonding for park projects, especially Central Park? Not yet. Okay.
I look to Jay because he has a previous financial background and Parks and Rec. So it's a nice twofer.
So with the changes, if you're watching, to address the bonding thing, bonding right now, not as good as it might be this time next year. And so as we continue to refine our plans for City Park and to see the scope of it, one of my hopes is with the stewardship decisions that we're making, we might reduce the sticker price to accomplish our objectives so that bonding might not be necessary.
Or if it is less so.
Or if it is not less so. And so also with City Park, the $500,000, which will get hidden here.
Well, and I actually haven't had a chance to mention that. So, if you recall, there was a question during the last meeting about the federal funds and where they were at in the process. They were not determined at the time. We requested 3.5 million. We did get approved for 500,000. That's $500,000.
Add that to
Congratulations.
barrel six,
Getting
$1 million.
that done.
And something else to note, and Jay brought it up, the amount proposed for City Park, as he mentioned, based on the stewardship conversations, that number might fluctuate. But as it sits right now, this is kind of my best estimate, and I would like to note, these are very much estimates. Very much, because I don't know what the plan is to put in the neighborhood park located near Tavera. That's gotta be a conversation that we have to determine what amenities, and it's gonna require more work, but this is my best estimate.
And there's also sites that could come in there right now we're not expecting. It could go up, go down. It's not just an estimate.
Do we have a timeline to use that 500,000?
There will be, but it's pretty,
Pretty far out there?
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's pretty.
We got the congratulations email, and we're waiting for the detail email.
Got it.
That's where we're
And I
at.
think like when we got similar funds, it was 8 or 10 years or something, wasn't
Oh,
it? Yeah. So-
It's got a pretty long tail. And then there's also some other requirements that come with it that will impact potentially some of our design ideas. You know, so there's things that you have to do. We've talked about that when you take funding, there's some second and third order effects. And so talking about how and where and how and why we're applying funds to certain things to make sure that we're not signing up for things that we don't want to sign up for.
I don't want to push the bonding, but we can only do that once a year, correct? So if we're going to break ground in 2025, I know costs are going to change, everything's going to change, but we would have to do that at some point this year? No.
We could go out for bond early next year and have the funds
And have it,
available.
right, okay.
And then also, it's how you cash flow the project. You know, so while we start it next year, we have more than enough funds to get going on a project. And it might be that we don't bond until later in the year, or we match this as a bond initiative for other things that we have. You know, so an example would be, we were projected to bond this year. And as I looked at our cash flow, and looked at the market, I didn't want to bond this year. And so we've been able to forego that.
You're waiting for those 3 interest rate cuts there. Projecting, okay. All right, so we'll deal with that later.
That's one advantage or disadvantage of being a former city finance manager.
So this is the park dedication tracker.
I was to say, but there is the one line that said must be used by 2025, and the other one that's the sports facility grant.
Yes, so that's end of the year 2025. And it's a reimbursement, so currently we don't have the money in hand. And I am fairly certain that we could use that towards planning.
Sure.
But I have to double check that one more time. So this is the park dedication tracker. That's not very helpful on a PDF to try and blow it up. I can't hardly read it, so I'm sorry. And if I try and zoom in anymore, it goes into an all-white screen. So I have no good alternative for you.
So can you, if you look at the Hope development, that's almost 2.7 of that $4 million that was talked about. That would be an example. That development's gonna take a lot of years. And so if we started planning on banking on that, you know, the first phase of that development is gonna take a while before they even start it. That site won't be fully built out, probably until I'm not working here anymore. Just the reality of how long that's gonna take.
Okay.
But we'll be getting some of it well before then,
Yeah,
as the phases. I
phases.
think it's 4 phases right now. Who knows if that changes, but, you know, so it would be kind of spread out over time.
Okay.
And the first phase would be a bigger one because it's the multifamily, higher density. And so some of those later phases are not gonna be as dense, and not gonna have as high a.
This is really helpful. Are you gonna update this every few months or so?
What part?
The updated for, well, obviously what we've received, but then any new projects that come on or fall off, things like that.
Here's what I'll tell you. I will have a much easier time updating the sources of funding doc, the park dedication funds, but the park dedication tracker, it takes a lot of time. I'm gonna be honest.
That's all right.
And I can ask our planning staff. I would say twice a year would be generous.
Yeah, maybe just around the central park planning would be nice, once we start getting costs and, hey,
Absolutely.
let's see what we have coming in.
Does that help? Is there anything that is a red flag to anyone? Are you getting really tired?
This is very helpful to see, something like that.
And I do want to note, I did not include park dedication fund in here twice, so the document 8A3 is also your
10C.
10C, because I'm trying to be not only fiscally responsible, but also mindful of the environment.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else on that? We're good. All right, new business, park dedication for Chastec Family Farm preliminary plat.
Chastics.
Yes. Again, give me just a moment to deal with technology. And we do have the applicant in the audience. Alrighty, so this is the preliminary plat for Chastec Family Farm. It is a 117 single-family residential lot, 7 outlot area. It's shown on the slide here. On the left gives you the overview, on the right kind of highlights the wetlands and such. There is a 1.5 acre parcel with a single-family home not included in the proposed development action, so that's this cutout right here. Oh, I apologize. And it is at the intersection of County Road 10 and Maple Hill Road. The 2040 comp plan shows a proposed off-road trail along the northern property line. The plan does reflect that off-road trail in addition to sidewalks throughout the development. The proposed trail alignment does meet the city's standard for trails, being 8 feet wide and a 20-foot easement. The trail splits to wrap the eastern property line of lot 44, so that's going to be located right over here. It also continues out to the east and connects to the neighboring property and aligns. Excuse me. The net land area is 33.58 acres. 10% of that land area, or the market value of the land, is required for park dedication. So 10% of that 33.58 acres is approximately 3.36 acres. And 117 single-family units at $5,954 a piece comes out to approximately, well, comes out to $696,618. Less that 28%, which is going to be that 0.8 acres of land for the trail and easement. you're coming up to $165,960.20 that easement would be worth in that trail. The remaining estimated cash due would be $530,657.80. Again, that's an estimate. It is going to be finalized down the road, but this gives you an idea. The questions for the Parks and Trails Commission are: the proposed off-road trail alignment, particularly the portion of the trail that runs along that east property boundary of Lot 44, should that be considered for park dedication? It connects to a green space, so this comes down, and there is a greenway area down here with wetlands, correct? And this is a private trail that goes through here, so this is connecting to that private trail. The question is, do we want that to be part of the park dedication? It is approximately 0.6 acres, which would come out to approximately, and these are best guesses, $12,500. These top numbers are a lot more specific. This bottom one is a lot more of an estimate.
Just a correction, it's not wetlands.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, there's some ponding there, but it's a corridor of, not wetlands, so it's
Thank
open
you.
space, yes.
Thank you.
It's not,
I'm glad you're here.
yeah.
Staff's recommendation is to approve acceptance of a combination of off-road trail easement and cash in lieu of land to satisfy the park dedication requirements. The main question being, do you want to accept the trail? If so, would you like to accept the trail that runs along that east portion of Lot 44? And are there any questions for me, or are there any maps that you guys would like me to pull up?
The private trail would be open to non-residents of this community?
This is public trail, it's connecting with the rest of your trail system.
The
Yeah.
one through the greenway?
Oh, no, the greenway,
Would you mind going to the?
yeah.
Sorry. Only so that I can do the minutes
How about
later.
why don't you restate your question so I
So
understand it?
we're taking a public trail to connect to the greenway, which I think I heard was a private trail. I just want to make sure that,
Are you talking about the piece between 44, lot 44 and?
I'll pull it up.
right,
No.
yes,
Thank you.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
the one on the other side of the, yeah.
Okay,
So-
so I have a solution to that because we have made a small minor change per staff request to our plan. If you pull it up, I can show you.
I'm trying.
And we don't need to put that trail along lot 44. We can put it, but yes, I think ultimately they will be able to walk through.
yeah, there's not going to be signage and say
No.
this is reserved
No.
for, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go
That's
a different
okay.
route now because that one's not working at all.
So what we've been asked to do is add another connection to the future development property to the east, so another roadway access. So we've been asked to continue the road into the neighbor's property. We have one already, but we've been asked to put another one there. And so we've done that, and with that, we could actually put the trail along.
Along
again.
that
Yeah.
connector road.
And I'll show it to you, so it wouldn't go along lot 44, but it would continue just south of the wetland that's there, the ponding.
The best I've got is a landscaping plan because that's about the only thing that's
Or what you
loading for
just,
me right
actually
now.
what you just had up with the trail.
But
You're
that
look-
doesn't show the,
Got it, okay. Okay, the landscape plan, okay, great, thank you.
sorry, this looks a little chaotic
No, no, no,
comparatively
This
to
works.
the thing in the packet.
Yeah, this is the green corridor that's gonna come through, and there are a couple of ponds here. And here's another pond, and then we have a wetland up in this corner that will also be, also goes into the neighbor's property. We've been asked to connect this road. We have one here down on the southern
Yep.
portion of the property, but we've been asked to add this here. So we did add it, and so we can move this trail to just come along this wetland here, so it doesn't need to come there. So I mean, if in the event you want it moved, we can do that.
Sure.
So, but then there is this inner trail system that will run along here and then back out to the trails that will be on the main road, on Maple Hill Road.
Yeah.
So yes, people can walk through there. It won't be-
Yeah, so I think by having the little offshoot trail, we get to utilize this private trail, which is obviously a good thing that if everyone
Right.
can use it.
Right.
So yeah, that seems to make a lot of sense.
Can you clarify, I didn't, where's the new proposed trail when the road goes through? Is it still split around that pond, or?
Okay, yeah, great question, because what it's gonna do is it's just gonna come here and it's gonna come right around this, so we'll lose this lot 45. And it will come right along here and connect into the neighbors.
And it won't go behind the houses any, sorry,
No,
it comes down and goes around, or does it just go across
the trail,
yeah,
I think I think we'll take this out if you want us to, and then here's the trail here.
oh, it'll just go straight down?
It can come here.
Okay.
Right. So it won't be, I think the comment in the staff report was that this particular lot then has a trail here and a trail here. So we would take that out for that lot. And then it would be along the wetland and not along another home.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I think I'd be fine with either placement. It's you that has to sell the house, so there's two trails there, right?
Right,
But
I think
if it's-
it was staff's comment and I thought it was a good
Sure,
comment,
yeah.
And it made sense, so I spoke with my engineer today and he said absolutely not going to make that change.
you can make it work both ways. Okay.
And do you mind for the record stating your name?
Oh,
I
I'm
know what
so-
it is,
so
but just
sorry.
for,
No. I'm Beth Husted with Trek Real Estate and Development. And
she has come a few times, so you might recognize the face. Thank you, Beth.
Mhm.
Do you want me to go back to the motion slide, like the areas of consideration?
Yeah, that would be helpful. I don't see any issues with this trail. It seems to fit with everything we're trying to do. So we're really just looking for, do we want to take the trail or do you want more cash? But it's a minor trail. So I'm all for it. Any other thoughts?
When built out, how many residents?
Actually, we are losing a lot with adding the access, so about 116
116 lots,
homes, yeah.
homes, and so that would be, these are
Single family.
for
Single family.
single family?
Mhm.
So some multiple of 116. I don't know what the typical,
116 single family lots.
okay, so
Yeah,
it's
all
gonna be,
single family.
it's gonna be 3 times 116 or 3.2 times 100. I'm counting people for neighborhood park counts and and such.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep track of all that stuff. Jessica, are you still trying to bring something else up? Otherwise, can we go look at the park plan for that particular part of town?
Yes, I will let you know. It only has the off-road trail.
Okay, yep.
And I did get word from our planner on the question regarding if we can add a city park in. You can certainly ask, but if it's not shown on the comp plan, it's not required.
Okay, well, let's take a look
So I
at it.
will pull that up though, assuming that it opens for me.
Yeah.
And that would be a no there. Am I going the wrong way? Yep.
Yep, you were really close.
And then it went right All right, let me try one more thing. Sorry about that.
That's okay. This is sort of like running a computer at my house. It's exactly the same thing that happens there.
Wrong fan.
Okay, I'm gonna move really, really
Uh-huh, yeah.
Okay, where am I going?
Go south.
You guys know how I do
Go-
with
go
maps.
Bring, we need,
So
we
you're
need
doing
lower,
close, you see 10?
Yep.
Oh, no, no,
A
you
little
gotta go
more.
south.
Southeast corner.
Keep going.
right there. That's good.
Right here, where my mouse is.
Okay. Okay, just, yep, you've got that located just right. So we don't have a neighborhood park in that development, but there's one to the northeast and northwest and one to the southwest. And we also have then the green space, dark green space is the golf course, is that what that is? And so it's, at some point, that will be developed.
There was a green space, roughly 8 acres of open space given to Cook Lake Highlands,
Yeah.
just to the south, just to the southeast.
Yes, that's a
And
little
those trees,
gully.
We saved the trees.
Yep,
It's
a
a
little,
big
little,
tree thing.
little gully in there, a little part.
Yeah, it's actually beautiful, and it's been a nice,
Yeah.
nice transition.
Yep.
And it had some beautiful trees, so.
Yep. And it is also pretty close to the open space park right below. So I'm feeling better about having that many houses they're in pretty close proximity to a couple of neighborhood parks. So and accessible by trail. Yeah. So. Good, thank you very much.
All right, does anyone want to try to make a motion here? I will make a motion to approve the acceptance of the off-road trail easement and cash in lieu of land to satisfy park dedication requirements.
Are we gonna include that extra branch?
With the extra branch to connect to the private trail. Do we get a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all those opposed?
Judy, did you, aye?
Aye,
Okay. I try and watch
aye,
everyone's.
aye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. All right, on to active planning applications. Any questions from anyone? All right, I think we're good. Let's move on to recreation supervisor update.
I think this is my last thing for the evening. So, main areas of my life have been youth baseball, specifically with the end of registration, creation of teams, scheduling fields, getting the games scheduled, ordering apparel, taking late registrations. Night to Night has been a topic of conversation as well. We've been meeting as a staff, coordinating miscellaneous activities and appearances for the event. I will say we secured a really exciting appearance, if I do say so myself, but I kind of want it to be a surprise, so it's just a nice little, I'll
Just
sprinkle
gonna
that in
tease
there.
us with that.
Mhm.
Okay.
We're considering some alternative food options to accommodate different food needs. And then park planning, working with HKGI on the site analysis of City Park, creation and adjustments to the concept plans, providing information, like background information on the planning that we've done up until here, and then working through previous park standards to create the standards presented in your packet, preparing registration for soccer, coordinating a hire for the program coordinator, which now that the form is signed, I think I'm allowed to say.
We brought back our.
We're bringing
friend.
back Jackson!
Excellent.
I will let you know, everyone in the office has been just as excited as I am. And I told him to bring back a fanny pack. Other items, exploring bike rack options, compiling information for the Parks and Trails packet, updating website, Park and Rec related items, a lot.
Does the apparel start having the new logo? Or when does that start to?
When you say apparel,
Well, you had apparel for the Oregon Youth Baseball and
so there's a Park and Rec,
Sorry.
a Park and Rec logo, if you will.
okay.
It's very simplified. I could pull it up if I could find it quick, otherwise I can send it out too. It says Corcoran in cursive and then a box underneath and it says Parks and Recreation, so it's not necessarily this logo. I'm gonna be very honest with you, if I tried to get this printed on that many shirts, it would be kind of expensive.
But to answer your question, Commissioner, we are working towards making apparel with the new logo available hopefully soon.
Yeah.
So I was working with a vendor this week.
The only thing that exists with the logo, with the old logo on it.
And what's nice about it is we're going to provide a store, and so people can go online and order what we want to do.
That'd be nice.
Lots of options for you to have the swag.
I think this was the first week we had it on our documents. It was nice to see.
You left off that you've coordinated again the tree giveaway.
Well, I don't like to steal your thunder.
Well,
That's for the Garden Club report.
It's not in the garden club, no, it's a separate event. In the olden days, I did all of the tree giveaway using email, and about 90% of the people got the trees they ordered, and the rest I lost. Every year there'd be this group of 6 or 7 or 8 people who said, I don't know what I did, but I screwed up, and I would just apologize. And since Jessica's been doing it and has computerized the whole thing, really all I do is pick out the trees, and I'll soon be shedding that operation to some of the tree huggers here, and then organizing the actual giveaway on Saturday. And so it's gone much more smoothly with Jessica than it ever did with me, especially from my point of view. I
thought it went really smooth every time.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, for a year thinking there were
He
bumps in
doesn't
the
give
road.
himself enough credit. And
I
I'll
worked
tell you
enough
what,
of those giveaways that,
Yeah, well, when it came to on that Saturday, those always went smoothly until the very end, when we had people lined up and no trees left to give them.
Yeah.
And there were always a few of those, but, that'll happen again. 'Cause
that's right.
a bundle of 25 trees does not necessarily contain 25
25
trees.
trees.
I'm quite certain of that.
also, please do not have me pick out the trees.
No. Anyway, it's been great.
All right, good. So then we are on to city council report.
I can give that. Wasn't expecting to. I think Counselor Nichols.
He's
What?
online.
Oh, he is?
I am here.
Oh, my.
If,
Yes, you are.
if Mayor Tom would prefer, I would happily defer,
Totally up to you.
but I'm happy. I was just going to touch on a couple things, and maybe the mayor would have a couple different ones that he wanted to highlight. From the February 22nd meeting, I wanted to point out we did have a lovely recognition event for Zeke, our former police canine officer who recently retired. And I think it was a can of dog toy themed beer that was given to the dog in
Pups
recognition
Blue
for his
Ribbon.
service as he goes into retirement. Pups Blue Ribbon, very good. Thank you,
Blue
Tom.
Ribbon.
I knew you would jump in on that one. At that same meeting, the Hope Community proposal was also approved through preliminary plat. And that will, as City Administrator Tobin pointed out, likely trickle in over the next, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, different phases of that as the market conditions warrant. And that will contribute a fair bit both to park funding as well as park demands. And we'll probably want to revisit at minimum as part of our 2050 comp plan update, how we will serve that number of residents in that part of the city with appropriate parks and recreation opportunities. So that'll be a fun project for us to think through on a long range timescale. And I think also on potentially a shorter range timescale, how do we connect those folks to the existing park infrastructure that is already planned? At the next meeting on the 14th, there was already a brief reference made to some of the pending bills that are under consideration at the state legislature around land use reforms and making it easier to build lower cost housing. We worked through the broad outlines of a resolution opposing most of those that we were planning to contribute to the League of Minnesota Cities, which is coordinating a lot of local governmental actions on that front. I will say over the last years, as I've been paying attention to this more, this is probably the most extreme version of these ideas that I've observed so far. And they have never yet passed. So I am hopeful that we will not have to upend all of our planning processes. But I would expect that this may be some sort of gamesmanship on behalf of those who are advocating for it, and maybe next year they'll scale back and they may be more likely to get something through. We'll have to see how that plays out, but that's just me trying to peer around.
And Jeremy, if I could interject here quick, among all those bills you see, those are all still out there, could be picked back up and go through the committee process. The main ones to keep an eye on are Senate File 1370, which on the Senate side kind of took most of the big provisions from the bills above it, and condensed it into one mini omnibus bill. And then there's a couple other bills that have been floating out there that have less impactful, but still not positive, in my opinion. Changes regarding development mostly, as well as on the House side today or yesterday, I believe, House File 4010 was introduced with a lot of the language on the House side kind of combined into one bill. It was worked on a little. Some of the really absurd provisions were taken out, but it's still a bad bill that would have a huge impact. It's working its way through the committee process, and they specifically said it's not taking the place of the other legislation that has all of the language. It's going alongside it. So I think they're kind of playing both routes to see which one they can get through. So it's something that I'll be keeping an eye on. City Administrator Tobin will be keeping an eye on, and we'll do our best to keep you guys posted. And I'm working with the league and a couple other municipal groups and other mayors on making sure that we advocate to the legislature to make sure that cities are heard on bills of this type of impact.
Excellent summary. Thank you. That was all that I had planned to discuss, but I'm certainly open to any questions, and I'm sure Mayor McKee may have other things that he would be willing and eager to talk about.
Only other thing that comes to mind is the Granicus update. We'll keep you guys posted once that gets live. I know Michelle is super busy, but that's among the things she's working on is getting that all integrated. And once Granicus is live, that's going to be a game changer for how we hold our meetings and where we host our documents and just how we kind of interact with official city business. So I'm really excited for that. Hopefully later this year sometime.
Hopefully go live by June.
There you go.
That's a new piece of software?
Yeah, we approved that late last year, I want to say. And it does a ton actually, but the main things that you'd see are like you can embed your video into the Granicus software. You can have your agenda attached to it, so you can click on an agenda item. It brings you to that part of the video. or kind of vice versa, where you click on a part of the video and it brings you to that part of the agenda. You can link other documents to it. There's a whole aspect on the backside of an app that counselors can have to do all sorts of different things. So it gives us a lot of flexibility and a lot of cool things we can do with it.
Efficiency.
So since we're talking about, how is our computer safety in relation to being taken down?
Well,
So we have a great contract with CIT, and we have someone on site every Wednesday, but we have somebody on call whenever we need them. And so there's a couple different things working behind the scenes. And I'll just say that I routinely receive about a half a dozen. They pull all the things that it catches together. And an average day, I receive about a half a dozen notices of these the things that we flagged of a potential threat of all different kinds. And that allows me to decide what we are going to allow through and what we're not going to. Because occasionally it grabs things, hey, I got this great email from Tom. For whatever reason it flagged Tom. I can't get it. And so I have to allow that. But I really like the fact that we've got some pretty high standards in terms of threshold protecting our system. That's what I'd say.
yeah, we haven't gotten in a while. Used to get, the rest of the council would get emails from a fake email that initially looked like me until you clicked on the whole thing, and then it was a bunch of numbers. Ask saying, hey, can you help me out? I'm out of the country. I can't talk on the phone to the rest of the council and the staff. And then
Send me gift
eventually, if
cards.
you reply back, they'd want you to send
That's my favorite
$200
one.
bucks a night.
This
gift
is the
cards.
mayor. Could you discreetly, be very discreet and pick
Yeah.
me up some gift cards? And send me the numbers.
I did get some very kind texts though from some other council members saying, "Are you okay?" and making sure. So I did appreciate that they didn't just dismiss it outright in case it was just a really weird request from me. I was stuck in another country.
And I would like to bring up one more thing. Under council schedule, it was brought to my attention, Mayor McKee called for work sessions on April 25th for a review of city park planning. Mark your calendars. It is a joint work session.
When?
April 25th. 5:30, I would assume?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for those updates. Appreciate it.
I have one question, may I
Yeah.
ask? How's our citywide Wi-Fi?
It's going in, and it should be, get live in some areas, I believe, and continuing to roll out throughout into the spring here and then be fully operational. Comcast should be sending out numerous, like postcard flyers with information on when service might be available in your area and how to sign up and what's offered and everything. They kind of usually look like, has their Comcast kind of sales spiel and then a QR code that you can scan.
Okay.
And it brings you right up to the page with your info. Yeah, so keep an eye out. I'll keep you guys posted if I hear any updates directly from Comcast. I can reach out to them again on some timing, but they've been installing like crazy, and since it was such a warm, non-snowy winter, they got a lot done that they wouldn't necessarily have thought they could have been able to do in like December, January especially, so.
Good.
Should be soon, yeah.
In our unserved area?
That's where you're.
Big deal, about 500 homes, so, and a ton of land area because of the, big lots and farms out there that this will either cover directly to or make it so that it's right there and easy to, or a lot more inexpensive to bring the line to your house
Okay,
at the very worst, so.
thank you.
All right, garden club report.
It's still winter.
Check.
Yeah.
Don't you have any pine boughs or something?
Pardon?
Don't you have any pine boughs or something?
We do not.
All right, commissioner liaisons calendar.
Wait, can we back up?
Oh, which one?
We skipped park dedication.
Oh, I thought you wanted to skip that. 'cause
No, I was just saying that it wasn't in your packet twice.
Oh,
In
okay.
case
Park
anyone has
dedication.
questions.
Does anyone have questions?
But then I want to add something to other business / announcements. Is that why I really wanted to go back.
Okay, so park dedication, I think we're good.
Okay. So there have been some conversations about potentially walking the open space park near the Bellwether development. I was looking in the April timeframe and then it snowed. So now I'm a little nervous. But if you guys would still like to look at April and maybe do a work session before the Parks and Trails Commission meeting, I will note with the addition of the 425 joint work session with council, that'd be 2 Thursdays in a row. But you'd be looking at 2 Thursdays in a row anyways, because we would have the meeting the week before the joint work session. So, thoughts? The trail should be going in soon, so it's looking at the graded area and kind of walking through there to get a better visual.
I did a little preview walk. It's
Yeah, we
nice.
can do it, I guess.
It's nice.
And to be fair, some people weren't along for that walk, I don't think.
I ended up not being able to go,
Yeah.
so I haven't seen it.
I started the week after that.
So does the April 18th at 5:30?
I bet that's the third Thursday.
Yep. Yep, that would be the Parks and Trails Day, so it'd be before the Parks and Trails meeting, and then, unless you guys want to look at a different date.
April 18th?
Could we do 5 o'clock? Would anyone be opposed to moving it up by half an hour?
You know, I think I can't do that. I can't, I'm lucky to get here on time, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, because I have been there.
5:30, is that?
No, I have a church meeting in town, 3:30 to 5, so I can't be here by 5:30, but it's okay.
If you're not gonna make it, do you mind if I ask if we can move it up to 5? That way we don't have to shift the
Absolutely.
Parks and Trails meeting from 7. I just don't know that an hour is gonna be enough
Yep.
time with
I think
travel and
that's-
everything.
That's good.
Okay.
Not that it's that far.
5, I would be tentative.
Then let's just stick with 5:30, and if I have to look at moving the Parks and Trails meeting to a 7:30 start, we can
Okay.
consider that again. I think we've done that in the past with work sessions, I just have to do a notice for it.
All right, so 4:18 at 5:30.
Yes.
Do you want us all to email you, or just, let's plan on it?
Let's plan on it. I'll send out an email when I have more details. I'm gonna talk to Kevin Mattson, our Public Works Director, to figure out where we should be parking and where we should be entering and all of the fun logistics.
Yep.
And then I'll send an email out with more information, but I'll at least get something sent out either tomorrow or Monday with the date and the time, so that people can put it in their calendars. We've got Val and Michelle on as well, so hopefully they hear it and it works for them. I haven't seen any messages come through.
Okay, that's other business, Commissioner Liaison calendar.
You'll notice the dates are wrong for the last two, for Strahler and Anderson. The accurate dates would be June 13th and June 27th respectively in that order.
I'm June 13th.
Correct.
All right, so let's assume that's all good unless someone says otherwise. And, adjournment. Okay, do we have anything else before we adjourn? And would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Oh, wait, do we have to vote?
Yeah.
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.